Is that wrap you just bought for lunch actually healthy? What if I told you that some of the most popular wrap brands in Australian supermarkets are loaded with more sugar than a chocolate bar, hidden palm oil, and preservatives linked to gut inflammation? These are the wraps marketed as wholesome, the wraps with green packaging and words like natural and whole grain, the wraps you buy thinking you are making a healthy choice for your family. Except the ingredient lists tell a completely different story. I spent weeks analyzing nutrition panels and investigating food additives. What I discovered is infuriating. Products marketed as healthy lunch options are packed with seed oils, artificial preservatives, hidden sugars, and so much sodium that eating 2 wraps puts you over your daily recommended intake. The most insulting part is the deceptive marketing. The packaging shows fresh vegetables and whole grains. Let me take you through the 7 worst offenders that Australians need to stop buying immediately. Number 1. Mission Wraps Garden Spinach Herb. The bright green packaging with fresh spinach leaves makes you think you are buying something nutritious. The label says made with real spinach and herbs. This sounds healthy. This looks healthy. But here is what the ingredient list actually reveals. The first ingredient is wheat flour. Not whole grain flour, not whole wheat flour, just refined white wheat flour. This is the same flour used in white bread. It has been stripped of fiber, vitamins, and minerals during processing. You are eating refined carbohydrates that spike your blood sugar exactly like white bread does. The spinach content is less than 2%. The entire green color in spinach marketing is based on less than 2% actual spinach. The rest of the green color comes from spinach powder, which is listed separately from the spinach. This is spinach that has been dried and powdered. It provides almost no nutritional value compared to fresh spinach. Now let us talk about the oils. Mission Wraps contain canola oil. Canola oil is a seed oil that is highly processed and prone to oxidation. According to research published in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry, excessive consumption of seed oils high in omega-6 fatty acids can promote inflammation in the body. When you eat Mission Wraps regularly, you are consuming inflammatory oils in every single wrap. The wraps also contain preservatives, including calcium propionate, listed as 282, and sorbic acid. Calcium propionate is added to prevent mold growth. Studies have linked this preservative to behavioral changes in children and potential disruptions to gut bacteria. The product contains added sugar. For a savory wrap product, there is no reason to add sugar except to enhance flavor and create mild addiction through sugar dependence. Each wrap contains approximately 1.5 grams of sugar. Consumer reviews on Product Review Australia describe Mission Wraps as rubbery in texture with an artificial taste. One reviewer wrote that the wraps taste like chemicals and leave a strange aftertaste in the mouth. Another said the wraps fall apart when filled and become soggy within minutes. When you buy Mission Garden Spinach Herb Wraps thinking you are adding vegetables to your diet, you are eating refined white flour with canola oil, preservatives, and less than 2% spinach. Number 2. Helga's Wholemeal Wraps. Helga's positions itself as the premium bread and wrap brand in Australia. The packaging features rustic imagery and emphasizes wholemeal and grain content. The brand charges premium prices. Australians pay extra because they trust the Helga's name. But here is what you are actually getting. The ingredient list shows wholemeal wheat flour at 65%. That sounds good until you realize that 35% is still refined wheat flour. If the product was truly wholemeal, it would be 100% wholemeal flour. The wraps contain vegetable oil. The specific type is not disclosed. When manufacturers do not specify which vegetable oil they use, it is usually the cheapest option available. This typically means canola oil, soybean oil, or palm oil. Helga's wholemeal wraps contain added sugar listed simply as sugar. Each wrap contains 2.3 grams of sugar. That is more sugar than Mission Wraps. The wraps contain preservatives including calcium propionate 282 and cultured wheat. The sodium content is 420 milligrams per wrap. Australian dietary guidelines recommend limiting sodium intake to 2,000 milligrams per day. One Helga's wrap gives you 21% of your daily sodium limit before you even add fillings. Consumer reviews note that Helga's wraps are dry and crack when folded. One reviewer described them as cardboard texture that is impossible to roll without breaking. Another said the wraps have no flavor and require heavy seasoning to be palatable. When you pay premium prices for Helga's thinking you are buying quality wholemeal wraps, you are getting a product that is 65% wholemeal mixed with refined flour, unspecified vegetable oil, added sugar, and excessive sodium. This is not premium. This is clever branding. Number 3. Old El Paso flour, tortillas stand and stuff. Old El Paso is the Mexican food brand that every Australian family knows. The stand and stuff tortillas are marketed as convenient and easy for taco nights. The packaging shows colorful, fresh ingredients. The brand is owned by General Mills, an American multinational food corporation. Here is what is actually in these tortillas. The first ingredient is wheat flour, refined white flour again, no whole grains, no fiber, just simple carbohydrates. The tortillas contain 3 different types of fat: vegetable oil, emulsifiers including 471 and 472, which are mono and diglycerides, and something listed as vegetable fat. When a product contains 3 separate fat sources, manufacturers are trying to achieve a specific texture while using the cheapest possible ingredients. According to research from the journal Nature, emulsifiers can alter the gut microbiome and promote intestinal inflammation. These are the same emulsifiers found in ultra-processed foods linked to inflammatory bowel disease. The tortillas contain raising agents, including sodium bicarbonate and disodium diphosphate. Each tortilla contains 360 milligrams of sodium. Eating 2 tortillas in one meal gives you 720 milligrams of sodium before any fillings. The product contains added sugar. Each tortilla has 1.8 grams of sugar. The stand and stuff shape is created through industrial processing and added thickeners. The tortillas contain vegetable gum 415, which is xanthan gum. Real traditional tortillas do not need industrial gums. They are made with flour, water, fat, and salt. Consumer reviews describe Old El Paso tortillas as chemical tasting with a weird texture. One reviewer said the tortillas taste like chemicals and have an unpleasant aftertaste that lingers. When you buy Old El Paso thinking you are getting authentic Mexican tortillas, you are eating refined flour with 3 types of fat, including industrial emulsifiers, excessive sodium, added sugar, and thickening gums. Number 4. Mountain Bread Wraps. Mountain Bread markets itself as the healthy alternative. The packaging is minimalist. The branding emphasizes natural and simple. The wraps are thin and light. Health-conscious Australians choose Mountain Bread, thinking it is the better option. The ingredient list is short, which seems positive. However, the wraps contain wheat flour. This is refined white flour. Despite the healthy branding, Mountain Bread uses the same refined flour as every other cheap wrap. There is no fiber. There is no whole grain content. You are eating white flour circles. The wraps contain vegetable oil. Again, the type is not specified. The product lists salt. Each wrap contains 170 milligrams of sodium. The real issue with Mountain Bread is what it is not. The wraps contain almost no nutrition. Each wrap provides 2.4 grams of protein. That is extremely low. A proper meal should include at least 15 to 20 grams of protein. The fiber content is 1.1 grams per wrap. Australian dietary guidelines recommend 25 to 30 grams of fiber per day. One Mountain Bread wrap provides 4% of your daily fiber needs. The wraps are extremely thin, which means they tear easily and cannot hold substantial fillings. Consumer reviews consistently mention that Mountain Bread rips when you try to wrap anything inside. One reviewer described them as tissue paper that falls apart if you look at it wrong. When you choose Mountain Bread, thinking you are making a healthy choice because of the minimal ingredients, you are eating refined white flour with unspecified vegetable oil that provides almost no protein, minimal fiber, and tears apart when you try to use it. Number 5. Tip Top. The One Wrap's lower carb. Tip Top is an iconic Australian bread brand. The One Wrap's lower carb line targets health-conscious consumers trying to reduce carbohydrate intake. The packaging promises lower carbs and higher protein. This sounds perfect for anyone watching their diet. But here's the truth about what is actually in these wraps. The first ingredient is wheat protein. This is isolated wheat protein added to boost the protein content artificially. While protein is important, isolated wheat protein is a processed ingredient extracted from wheat. It is not whole food protein. The wraps contain wheat flour. Despite being marketed as lower carb, they still contain refined white flour. The carbohydrate content per wrap is 14 grams. Compare this to a regular wrap, which contains approximately 20 to 25 grams. Yes, it is lower, but 14 grams is still significant. The wraps contain multiple fibers added to increase the fiber content artificially. Ingredients include wheat fiber, inulin, and psyllium husk. These are isolated fibers added separately rather than fiber naturally present in whole grains. According to nutritionists, isolated fibers do not provide the same benefits as fiber from whole food sources. The product contains vegetable oil and emulsifiers, including 471, which is mono and diglycerides. Tip-top lower-carb wraps contain added sugar. Each wrap has 0.5 grams of sugar, which is minimal but still present. The sodium content is 400 milligrams per wrap. That is 20% of your daily sodium limit in one wrap. Consumer reviews describe tip-top lower-carb wraps as dense and chewy with an odd texture. One reviewer said the wraps taste weird and have a strange mouthfeel. When you buy tip-top, the one wraps thinking you are making a smart low-carb choice. You are eating isolated wheat protein, refined flour, vegetable oil, emulsifiers, and 400 milligrams of sodium. Number 6. Baker's Delight Protein Wraps. Baker's Delight is an iconic Australian bakery chain with over 400 stores nationwide. Their protein wraps are marketed as the healthy high-protein option for fitness-conscious consumers. The packaging emphasizes protein and wholesome ingredients. These wraps cost significantly more than regular supermarket wraps. But here is what you are actually getting. The first ingredient is wheat flour. Despite the protein marketing, refined white wheat flour is still the base. The wraps contain vital wheat gluten added separately to boost protein artificially. This is isolated wheat protein extracted through industrial processing. The wraps contain canola oil. This inflammatory seed oil appears even in supposedly premium Australian bakery products. Baker's Delight protein wraps contain added sugar. Each wrap has 1.7 grams of sugar in a savory protein wrap. The wraps contain preservatives including calcium, propionate 282. Even though Baker's Delight markets fresh daily baking, these wraps use preservatives for extended shelf life. The sodium content is 390 milligrams per wrap. That is 19.5% of your daily sodium limit. The wraps contain emulsifier 471 and added vegetable fiber. The protein content is 9.2 grams but comes from added vital wheat gluten rather than quality sources. When you buy Baker's Delight protein wraps thinking you are supporting an Australian bakery and getting quality high-protein bread, you are eating refined flour with isolated protein, canola oil, added sugar. Number 7. Woolworths Home Brand Wraps White. Woolworths Home Brand is the budget option. Australians buy these wraps because they are cheap. Nobody expects premium. But here is why even at budget prices, these wraps are a terrible choice for your health. The ingredient list shows wheat flour as the first ingredient. This is the cheapest refined white flour available. Zero fiber, zero nutrients, pure refined carbohydrates. The wraps contain vegetable oil listed without specification. Budget products always use the absolute cheapest oil available. This is likely canola oil or soybean oil. Woolworths home brand wraps contain preservatives including calcium, propionate 282, and sorbic acid 200. These extend shelf life but provide no nutritional value. The wraps contain added sugar. Each wrap has 1 gram of sugar. The sodium content is 330 milligrams per wrap. The nutritional profile shows each wrap contains only 2.6 grams of protein and less than 1 gram of fiber. This is nutritionally empty food that provides calories without nutrients. Consumer reviews describe Woolworths home brand wraps as the worst quality available. One reviewer wrote that the wraps taste like cardboard and have a rubbery texture. You are eating the lowest quality refined flour with the cheapest vegetable oil, multiple preservatives, added sugar, and zero nutritional value. What should you actually buy? First, Hermann Brot lower carb wraps. Hermann Brot is an Australian company that makes high-protein, lower-carb wraps with quality ingredients. Their wraps contain wheat protein, wholemeal flour, filtered water, olive oil, and sea salt. No preservatives, no added sugar. No emulsifiers. The ingredient list has minimal items. Herman Brat wraps contain 11 grams of protein and 8 grams of fiber per wrap. Available at Woolworths, Kohl's, and independent supermarkets nationwide. Second, make your own wraps at home. Traditional wraps require only flour, water, oil, and salt. You can make a batch in 30 minutes. Use wholemeal flour or spelt flour for added fiber and nutrients. Use olive oil instead of seed oils. Homemade wraps contain no preservatives, no emulsifiers, no added sugars. How to identify quality wraps? Check the flour type. Real healthy wraps use 100% wholemeal flour. Look at the ingredient count. Quality wraps should have 5 to 7 ingredients maximum. Avoid seed oils. Look for wraps made with olive oil. Check for added sugar. Watch the sodium content. A wrap should contain less than 200 milligrams. Avoid emulsifiers and preservatives like calcium propionate, 282, and mono and diglycerides, 471. Check protein and fiber content. A decent wrap should provide at least 4 grams of protein and 3 grams of fiber. The Australian wrap industry has been lying to you for years. Mission markets spinach wraps with less than 2% spinach. Helga's charges premium prices for wraps that are only 65% wholemeal. Old El Paso sells ultra-processed tortillas loaded with 3 types of fat. Mountain Bread tricks consumers with minimal ingredients that provide zero nutrition. Cobb superfood wraps contain 5% quinoa. Woolworths' home brand is cheap garbage. The packaging shows fresh vegetables. The marketing uses words like natural. But the ingredient lists reveal the truth. Refined flour replaces whole grains. Seed oils replace quality fats. Preservatives replace freshness. Added sugar creates flavor dependence. And they market this as healthy. They put green packaging on refined flour and call it nutritious. They add 5% quinoa and call it superfood. You deserve to know what you are feeding your family. If this video helped you understand what is really hiding in supermarket wraps, hit the like button and share this with everyone who still buys Mission or Helga's, thinking they are making healthy choices. Subscribe so you do not miss our next investigation into what is really in your food. Ring that notification bell because the food industry does not want you knowing this information. Your health depends on reading ingredient lists. Start today.